AEW. They have their All In show coming up, so good for them. And this story broke from Fightful. So you know how a couple years ago you'd have an ex WWE guy or a WWE guy that would get fired after their post WrestleMania layoffs, and then that person would show up in AEW probably a couple weeks later, and thus goes the cycle, turning AEW into what many would say is like TNA 2.0. Yeah.
Oh, that was a question. Yes. Sorry.
Sorry, that was a weird question, but there we go. So, as the story goes here, there's a major change to AEW's policy towards signing ex WWE wrestlers. And then the subheadline is AEW wants to be way more picky when signing former WWE talents. On the heels of Swerve Strickland saying that signing for AEW should be like signing for the Los Angeles Lakers. That's okay. there's there's now somewhat of an update on AEW's policy on bringing in prospective talent, particularly former WWE names. When asked about AEW having an eye on WWE release talent, Sean Ross Sapp with Fightful said that Tony Khan promotion is being way more picky with ex WWE stars. Sapp did add how there will be some former talent that will end up in AEW, but that's not going to be a huge amount. So basically, AEW shutting their doors for ex WWE talent. No particular talent were named, but obviously there would be like Rusev, Aleister Black. Murray what doesn't count particularly, but that's just another talent that jumped. And then there's Sean Spears. I think he's still in NXT, or maybe he's not. I don't know. Sorry, I'm trying to run this off the top of my head, and I'm just blanking on the names. There are countless names who've been let go by WWE only to make their way to Tony Khan's company. From a quick look through AEW's lifespan, there's Jake Hager, Saraya Page, CJ Perry, Lana, Mark Henry, the Hardy Boys, Bobby Fish, and Parker Boudreaux. Where's he been? I don't think he ever made it to television. He was the next Brock Lesnar, that Parker Boudreaux guy.
He got released, apparently.
From AEW too?
Yeah. It says
Oh.
some of the released WWE talent to become all elite, only to depart AEW down the line.
Oh, I guess I could have just read on. So that's the story there. AEW seemingly wants to not be a stepping stone back to WWE.
Well, good for them because they haven't done anything with WWE talent aside from, I'd say, Swerve Strickland.
Well,
Well,
yes,
maybe John
yes.
Moxley, although people seem to hate him.
People hate John Moxley, but
They're,
he is
they're at
main
least doing,
eventing their
yeah, they're doing something with him.
yeah,
Because
he's main
Soraya was
eventing
a
their biggest show.
yeah, Soraya was a waste. Adam Page has been a waste. We'll see
I
what
think
happens with Bobby Lashley and the Hurt Business. Everybody hates Mercedes Moné.
they do, but she's undefeated and she has 6 belts. So,
Which doesn't help.
well, we're talking about under you, so I don't think she would fit into that category.
That's fair.
Tony Storm also pretty big after going to AEW. So it has worked out for some. I think it is good for them, but I also think I don't know, like it could potentially hurt the TV product because now you're what, not going to bring in good talent on the fact that they might leave. And how do you prevent that too? Now, there
Well, they
was the
had good
story.
talent and they ran it off. So why would the good talent come?
Well, there's always going to be more talent to bring in. Also, there was another story that there's a new edict or something like if you wrestle for AEW, you can't immediately sign to WWE.
Well,
Like that's a new edict too.
isn't that like a 90-day no compete clause?
Well, it's not that because they're not contracted like they do, like the Worlds Collide or whatever they call it, the
When they did
Forbidden
the
Door.
tryout matches?
Well, no, like the cross promotional thing. So like they just did one with CMLL. They did the New Japan Forbidden Door pay per view. So there's like this new thing. It's like, oh, if we use you, you can't immediately sign to WWE.
Okay.
Basically, let's just call it the Stephanie Vaquer rule.
Yeah, she used AEW as basically a trial match.
Yeah, but yeah, that's where I'm like, you can't really prevent it I understand it's not the best thing, and it makes you look bad if they just run back to WWE. They're basically using you to get back to WWE, but you're going to hurt your product if you don't continue. Because a part of AEW is bringing in new talent. Unfortunately for them, that's just part of the show. Every pay per view is like, oh, who's debuting? Like, we were expecting Cedric Alexander to debut, which he didn't. He ended up in TNA. Cora Jade, Elena Black. Now, every time she gets a chance, she's saying she wants to go to AEW. So, like, you're just gonna shut talent out just on the fact that they might go back.
I think it's a good thing because they haven't done anything with the WWE talent that they brought over.
Well, just certain talent.
Most talent.
Yeah, they're not doing anything with them, so it's not their fault that they go back. Like, if it works out, then I don't think they would go back.
Well, no, they have this big Edge.
He's hurt, I think.
Yeah, but when he wasn't fucking hurt, he's fucking boring. He's made
Well, he had
absolutely
to.
he made a big splash on his debut and he's done nothing since. Nobody gives a shit about him. Nobody gives a shit about Mercedes Moné. Nobody gives a shit about John Moxley. The only time they talk about either of the two, it's for negative reasons.
Well, that's because they're haters like you.
Fine. Christian, nothing.
Oh, he's one
Page,
of the big deals in the company.
he was, and then until everybody started getting tired of his fucking daddy shtick.
No one's tired of him.
Yeah, they were tired of it.
He's still doing it, by the way. As a matter of
Yeah,
fact, he and his son, who's not even his son, are on this journey to become the first father-son tag team champions.
Jericho, who they want to cancel.
Well, he hit on a woman, so
They brought
get
Big
him out.
Show Mark Henry, who they even questioned were still even in the company at certain points. And when Big Show did wrestle, he looked like he shouldn't have ever wrestled ever again. He was zigzagged.
Big Show, yeah, that was a mistake all around.
And even their own fucking people, like MJF is lesser. That was their biggest fucking star, aside from CM Punk, and he is nothing now.
He's getting over the hurt business.
You don't see like headlines and headlines of great MJF shit. Yeah, he'll pop up every now and then, but that's not the center focus on anybody's wrestling radar.
Yeah, he's kind of being in the background.
And he shouldn't be. He should be your main event heel. He should be the Ric Flair of this generation, and they fucked it up.
I think he has to kind of sit on the sidelines because of the Mox title run,
which everybody seems to be exhausted with.
That's true. Absolutely.
They need to stay away from and yeah, Black and Andrade, they wanted to leave immediately. Ditto Rusev. All of the WWE talent.
That's true. Oh, Cody. We forgot about Cody. But
yeah, well, they ran off Cody and they ran off Punk.
And Punk, yeah. I don't know. Yes, they did underuse the talent. They didn't underuse them. They just stopped using them. But these talents, they go to AEW, they get a character, and then they go back to WWE with that character that AEW created, if you will.
Who's done that?
With an AEW. Miro. He's kind of the Redeemer gimmick. He's back in WWE with it.
What if the Redeemer gimmick is what Rusev did before he went to the WWE? Because that seems to be what they do, is they revert back to the shit that they did before WWE.
I have no idea what Rusev did before he was in WWE. Whatever the reason there. Why didn't he come into WWE with that gimmick then? If that's because it was a different regime and they wanted him to have his own. Well, I guess I just answered my own question because Vince McMahon, who's creative, so he so he wants to come up with his own shit. I don't know, but what I do know is they go to AEW, we see something different, and then they come back, and that difference is there too. But again, that could just be the lack of creativity out of the current regime.
Kudos to Aleister Black for being the same thing constantly.
Yeah, no character change there. He's just him.
Yeah, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, but there you have it. AEW refuses to be a stepping stone for WWE, for better or worse. As usual, let us know what you think about it in the comments. Is this a good or a bad thing for AEW?